So if you haven't had a chance to get the app yet, again, we still have the $50 no-worry wager available. What a great time to get in the summer. Get yourself familiar with the app. The auto racing, horse racing, the golf,
women's softball
the MMA. I mean, whatever you're interested in, check out the STN Sports app.
I don't know if you heard a quote yesterday. Max said it wasn't really a smooth sailing with you guys in the beginning. I guess, how did that relationship kind of develop, and where did it maybe turn?
Yeah, no, I mean, coming in, I had a lot of rough trials. I missed a little training camp. I missed a little bit of OTAs. Like, I came in not proven. So in his eyes, I look at it and see, oh, here's a second-round pick who, hasn't really proved anything, And then I ended up, proving a little bit in season and a little bit of my worth, and then really putting in a lot of work in the offseason with him. I mean, you got to think it. You're not just going to meet a girl and she's going to love you right away. You got to take her out to dinner a couple of times, open the door, meet her parents, and then, maybe she'll love you. So I just had to put in the work. So.
There's also something to be said about earning respect.
Yeah.
Like earning it, not just being given to you. Is that kind of satisfying that you earned that respect?
It's satisfying, but it's more just like I'm happy that I have the relationship that I have with him, He's like one of my best friends now. So, yeah, I'm happy that I earned it, but I'm also like, I've gotten so much out of it too. So,
welcome back, Raider Nation. Welcome back to Vegas Nation First and 10, your weekly and bi-weekly go-to for Raider news and analysis. And we just heard from Jackson Powers Johnson. I bet you didn't have on your bingo card the center of the Raiders talking about wooing girls and trying to win them over and doing everything that you need to do to romance somebody that you have your eye on. We're going to put that all in perspective in just 1 second. But before we do, I want to remind everybody that all Vegas Nation podcasts are brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports, and we thank them for all of their support. I am Vinny Bonsignore. I cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation. To my right now, yesterday was the left, to my right is Adam Hill, my great colleague from the Review-Journal and Vegas Nation, covers the Raiders as well. And so we heard from Jackson Powers Johnson. Let's put that in perspective. Yesterday, Maxx Crosby, the Raiders star defensive end, was up at the podium talking after day one of training camp, and we had asked him about Jackson Powers Johnson, and Maxx Crosby, being a guy that never really minces words or beats around the bush, basically revealed that he and Jackson Powers Johnson had a little bit of a rocky relationship last year, and in Max's words, he holds people to a high standard, especially young players, and he didn't get into all the details, but obviously, Jackson Powers Johnson was not living up to those standards. Now, in Jackson Powers Johnson's defense, he was injured this time last year, injured throughout OTAs and minicamp, so wasn't even able to get out on the field, and we don't know what he was able to do behind the scenes in terms of working out. Did that contribute to it? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But I guess the most important part of this is that these guys are now almost best friends. And Jackson Powers Johnson figured it out, was able to earn Maxx Crosby's respect. They spent a lot of time together this offseason, countless hours working out together in this very building that we're in right now at the Raiders facility, and got it and understood it, never pouted about it, and put it on him. And now a year later, he's more than earned Maxx Crosby's respect, but it's another reminder that not everything is seamless. Right. Not everyone gets along, 100%. And as Maxx Crosby said, there's a level of you have to earn your respect in the NFL. Jackson Powers Johnson might have gotten off to a rocky start in that regard, in Max's eyes, but he obviously has now turned that around.
Yeah, and I've seen them both quite a bit together this offseason for sure. I know people that follow Max's podcast will know that Jackson has been on a couple of times. He even guest hosted it when Maxx wasn't there,
right?
And he did it from Hawaii, by the way. He zoomed in from Hawaii and did it. So they've gotten close. I know both of their circles have kind of overlapped a little bit, and it's definitely a developing relationship. It's almost like a buddy cop movie developing between those two guys,
right?
And so it's been interesting to watch, and I think really both of them being open about maybe last year wasn't the same, and they don't have to talk about that, but I think Maxx put it out there, and Jackson was pretty open about how that relationship has developed and what it means to him to have developed that and earned that respect and where they are now. He also made a Love Island reference later on in his media appearance and wanted to make sure I don't want to go on. I have I'm in a very committed relationship, which he is. So he wanted to make sure he's not going on the show, but he does like it.
Obviously, he definitely brought it up, and just going back to the start of their relationship and where it is now, and this is really all about, again, earning respect. This is the NFL is a no excuse business. Maxx Crosby drives a hard bargain. He's got a real bottom line, and I've told Maxx Crosby this. I covered a guy by the name of Kobe Bryant. I'm not trying to compare the two and the greatness and all that kind of stuff, but there is a mutuality in how they're wired. And Kobe Bryant was never shy about holding people's feet to the fire. If you weren't living up to his standard, you were going to hear about it. And he was not going to be all chummy with you. He's going to be pretty frosty with you. But he was also, like Crosby has been with Jackson Powers Johnson, if you do put the work in and you do prove that you're in it to win it and all about it in a way that people that are wired like that expect you to be and expect themselves to be and live up to that standard as well, then you earn it. And I think that for Jackson Powers Johnson, earning that respect is probably way more satisfying than just having it given up.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And to hear them just both talk about where they are now and where they are going into this season, they're both excited to move forward, both excited to be a part of this franchise and where they think it can go, and want to be a part of taking it to that next level. So that's certainly something to watch between both of them.
Yeah, and I think if we're going to single now or focus on that offensive line, it feels a lot different than it did this time last year. The makeup and the composition of the offensive line is I would say, to start out with, dramatically different than what it was this time last year. And from right to left, DJ Glaze, you never really hear much about DJ Glaze. That's probably a good thing. He just continues to get the job done, and he's steady as can be for a second-year player. Alex Kappa is at left guard. Jackson Powers Johnson, even though today, when we're talking after day 2 of training camp,
right guard.
Excuse me, right guard. Yes, thank you very much. Moving right to left, Jackson Powers Johnson was actually the second-team center today. Jordan Meredith replaced him as a first-team center. I wouldn't read anything into that. I think the way things are structured, and it's becoming clearer by the day, they're getting ready for the season right now. Yep. They really are. There's not a quarterback competition or anything like that. And so I think Chip Kelly, the offensive line coach, Pete Carroll, wanted Jordan to get some work with Geno Smith, because you never know if Jackson Powers Johnson goes down, he's going to have to get put in there, or somebody, a backup center is going to have to get in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of Dylan Parham, snapping the ball a little bit. But then conversely, if something were to happen to Geno Smith, you need Jackson Powers Johnson to have a chemistry with Aiden O'Connell, who's the backup quarterback. So I think that switch was done today for that reason. So Jackson Powers Johnson is the established center. Then left guard would be Dylan Parham, and left tackle would be Colton Miller. Again, a lot different than it was last year, where there were some moving parts and they were still trying to figure things out. I got to figure that going into the season, assuming everybody stays healthy, that's going to put this offensive line in a much better position to get off to a better start this year compared to last year.
Yeah, and I think, you can say what you want about the offensive line last year, and certainly in the run game it wasn't great, but there was times in pass protection I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
And we've seen those guys do it, right? I mean, it's continuity, so a lot of the same guys. There's new pieces, of course, like Kappa coming in as a new piece, and JPJ moving over to center is new. But a lot of the same guys there, a lot of the continuity, even though the system is different, those guys have worked together. They understand each other. And also, I think that is a big part of having more confidence. We talked about this with Pete Carroll yesterday, right, where he's saying a lot of the same things that other coaches have, but you've seen him do it. Right. So you understand he knows how to get there. Same with this. Like, you can say, well, there's some positive things about the offensive line, just like I think some people said last year, but now you've seen them play at a pretty good level at times, again, especially in the pass protection more than the run blocking. And you've seen them do it.
And when they made the coaching change, too, I thought Joe Philbin taken over as the offensive line coach, changed some structural things and some schematic things, and maybe to put
Well,
those guys.
I think Chip Kelly at the top too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think what he asked them to do as offensive linemen more fits what they do best and more plays to their strengths.
Right. Without question. And so then with the starting five, basically it feels intact. I can't see, other than maybe Alex Kappa not returning back to form. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. He did not have a good season last year, and that's why he became available. The Cincinnati Bengals cut him. If he's not able to restore order, personally, in terms of his level of play, then maybe there's an opening there at right guard.
Well, we saw Jordan Meredith play well at times. We talked about him playing center today, but he has played guard and he played very effectively. Last year might have been the best offensive lineman at times late last year, along with Colton Miller, who really came into his own at the end of the year. But so he could be potentially in line there. And we've seen Thayer Munford playing a lot of guard.
Just going to mention that. And today it was right guard that I saw him. When you're here at training camp, there's 90 players out there, and it's just they're constantly in different periods. The best for me is 11 on 11, but even at that, guys are kind of coming in, coming out, and there's line changes basically, first team, second team, all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to really focus on anything specifically. You got to kind of pick and choose your battles each day. And today, at least from my vantage point, I only saw Thayer Munford at right guard. Immaterial. He played left guard in minicamp and OTAs. He was the starting left guard when Dylan Parham came up short, on the last day of minicamp. So let's just stay there for a second, because I think that's significant for Thayer Munford. Yes, he played guard in college, at Ohio State. But he's been primarily a tackle here in the NFL. He's played left tackle. He's played right tackle. He's played swing tackle. He's come in as an extra tackle, in different sets. But we haven't seen him I don't think we've seen him take a snap in a regular season game anyway at guard. But it's becoming more conspicuous the more time he gets at guard, that might be part of the plan for Thayer Munford. Yeah,
I would say right now, if they're going to the season today, and again, it looks like what they're doing is trying to prepare for be going into the season. Like I would say, he's probably a guard. I mean, I think that's pretty safe to say at this point.
Right, and maybe somebody that can cover a tackle if need be. Because if you
it becomes a valuable asset, especially as somebody who would be a backup.
Right.
To be able to say, you can play 4 positions.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty big for them.
And actually, let's hear Chip Kelly talked about the importance of that versatility coming from the college game, where you have an endless amount of guys sitting there on the sidelines that can come in on game day. If your second or third guy goes down, maybe they're not that good, but you have bodies there. In the NFL, you're going to dress 8, 9 offensive linemen, not even maybe 8 offensive linemen. So you do the math. If there's 5 players that are starting and 2 guys go down, and it's one's a center and one's a tackle, those backups better know how to play center and tackle and guard and everything else. So here's Chip Kelly talking about the importance of versatility as an NFL offensive lineman. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's Chip Kelly, the Raiders offensive coordinator, talking about some of the mixing and matching of this offensive line group right now, and the Raiders trying to seek some versatility or some clarity on whether guys like Thayer Munford can handle a guard spot. There's a couple of rookies as well in this picture, Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. We've seen Caleb playing guard, and we've seen Charles Grant playing tackle. It's really hard to get a handle on either of those 2 players, or quite frankly, the entire offensive line in general, because they're not in pads yet.
Right.
But your thoughts so far on what you've seen from those offensive linemen?
Yeah, I actually, going back and seeing where they were at the draft, I loved the pick of Charles Grant, because I think he's such a good developmental prospect and a project to get ready. But he's very athletic. He's very quick. You could see the movement. And I know he's not small. He looks small, because I think he's in such good shape that he kind of looks small. I think they probably want to get him a little bit bigger at some point. Caleb Rogers is a guy that played a ton in college. Yeah. I think he's older than a lot of players on this team already.
Right.
As a draft pick, a guy that played so much. He has so much experience. I think he's more NFL ready to just jump in and be available and to play. But in terms of, we had a question from the podcast yesterday of, do they have a chance to start? Like, I would say probably not.
You wouldn't want, I don't know if you'd even want them to start.
I don't think that, I don't think that's the plan. I don't think that's, ideal for, unless one of them were to be so good, you just have to start them.
Right.
I guess that'd be great. But I think they want them both time to develop, to get ready to go. I would say in terms of making the team, probably a good chance. I'm just thinking about it though. Right now we said, the 5 starters, if you look at the guys that right now would be lined up as the starters, and then if you had a Jordan Meredith, who's, his versatility playing center and guard would be very helpful. Then you've got Thayer Munford, who's playing guard, can play tackle. Like, he could potentially be out there. If you're saying you're keeping 8,
yes,
one of those guys would be gone.
I think you keep 9.
That's what I'm saying. I think even though you're only dressing 8, you're probably keeping 9.
Right.
So that would be those 2 rookies
Yes.
To be on the team. So, I expect them to be here. In fact, there was a discussion going on the sideline today during camp of how many of the draft picks make the team. There's 11 of them. Usually, in a new regime, you would expect every draft pick to make the team because you don't want to – I'm not saying that they would have to do this. I'm just saying in general in the NFL – again, I'm not saying this about this class. In general – you wouldn't want to say, like, hey, that draft pick didn't work out, we're cutting him. Like, you wouldn't want to do that. So you'd want to have all of your draft picks make the team. Now, there's 11, so it's a little different than most teams who have 7 guys coming in. But I would say, I expect the vast majority to be on the roster.
I can't imagine anyone at this point, especially after the Raiders released Carter Bradley. That would have been the one, the backup quarter or the third quarterback
Cam
job.
Miller, Well, and by the way, while we're on this, I think we should point this out. I know there was some talk coming into camp, and I know I took some questions from people about the backup quarterback competition. I don't think there's a backup quarterback competition.
I don't understand why anyone would even put their head there. You've got a really good backup quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. Whatever you want to say about Aiden O'Connell as a starting quarterback, over a 17-game schedule, maybe he's not ready for that or capable of that in terms of delivering game in and game out, a high level of play or a high enough level of play. But for what he's making money-wise, how he's wired, the experience that he already has, how he's performed at times, whether it's coming off the bench or starting in a pinch or starting for 3-4 straight games, why would you want anyone else as your backup quarterback right now?
Well, I think it would be the same reason. I think you would say in a lot of cases, people, a organization would say, we want our draft pick to be the guy that's the backup, not the guy that we inherited. I just don't think that they're at that point, anywhere close to that point right now. And I would say based on the reps, there's a huge gap between 2 and 3 right now.
Like we said, they're getting ready. It's obvious they're getting ready for the season. And yes, there's competition involved. There's jobs at stake. Yeah. There's roles at stake. But when it comes to the quarterbacks, and really when you're thinking about the first team offense and first team defense for that matter, it's pretty cut and dry in a lot of ways. Now we always talk about the cornerbacks, the starting cornerbacks. That could change. I'm leaving room open for that. I don't see, depending on what happens with Christian Wilkins, there'll be some maneuvering with the defensive line. But what if he's out there? I think it's pretty clear what that defensive line is going to look like. Do you want to start Adam Butler, or do you want to start, Jonah Lalaulu? I'll give you that, but they're all going to be part of that rotation. There really aren't that many. You could tell that it's not about who, making decisions on who starters are going to be in the vast majority. It's just getting both of those groups, the first and second teams, ready for the season.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I thought there was not that it wasn't like a quote that stood out or anything. It wasn't like a forceful, I'm not trying to put it that way, but I thought there was a quote from Chip Kelly when he was talking today that kind of indicates that, where one of the reporters said, what have you been seeing this offseason from somebody? And he said, it's not the offseason.
Exactly.
It's not the offseason.
The season has started.
The season has started. They're in mode to get ready for the season for sure, as where they should be. That's what training camp is for. And by the way, they've got a game in 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yes,
they've got a
Seattle.
game. Yeah,
right.
So it's coming up. It's coming up on us fairly quickly.
You know what else is coming up? A little bit of a break, and when we get back, we will dive into day 2 of Raiders training camp.
This one's for the Vegas locals and Vegas locals only. STN Sports is the sports betting experience built for you. From the app to the 19 convenient locations across the valley to sign up, bet, and watch your favorite games. And with a massive betting menu and daily odds boost, there are tons of ways to get in the action. Sign up today.
All right, so observations about day 2. I thought that Geno Smith had a strong day. Yesterday, it was a stronger day than yesterday without question. And he threw a few passes, quite a few, I guess you could say, in his reps to Ashton Jeanty. But he and Jacoby Myers really started kind of coming on together in that second half of the practice, and I guess why not? Jacoby is one of the more reliable wide receivers in this game. Chip Kelly talked about it, but it feels like that chemistry is rapidly developing.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to, if you're going to target a guy, I mean, Bowers, of course, one, and Jacoby Myers, another one, and Chip Kelly brought it up again today that Jacoby Myers is the only receiver in the league that didn't have a drop last year. I know there is some debate about that. I think it was the game at Denver. If you watch back to the play, I think they gave it a pass deflected.
Jeez.
I probably, and I'm saying this because I had the conversation with Jacoby. I think he would call it a drop.
There you go. No, I didn't know that this was even a thing.
Oh, yeah. I had a long talk with Jacoby last year.
He's going to give it to you straight.
Because, and I asked him, I said, hey, you're the only receiver in the league that doesn't have credit for a drop. And he said, go back and watch the Denver tape.
No surprise there.
And I, it's debatable. But again, 0 drops. Chip Kelly brought that up, and somebody said, do you think he's poised to have a big season? And he said he had a big season last year.
Right.
Which he did. Very productive player for sure. No question about that. And he had some plays today. There was no spectacular splash plays down the field. A little bit, better in terms of cleaning up some of the mistakes. I know the first pass Geno threw, I couldn't see exactly what happened. I don't think anybody hit his arm. I think that would be a problem.
So that was a sack by Tyree.
So if he hit him, that's probably a mistake. I don't think.
No, he didn't hit him, but it would have been a sack, and then somebody knocked the ball.
I was gonna say it would have been maybe a fumble.
Yeah,
but it did go forward. It was a tough one.
Yeah,
But it was a slow start, I guess what you'd say, and then started coming out a little bit, and then I was just about to put out to get ready to write up. Hey, no interceptions today, and then there was kind of a slew of them late in practice.
Right.
So one from Geno to Isaiah pull him out, and then kind of threw one over the middle. That was deflected 4 times, and Trey Taylor came up with it after dropping one yesterday. So I'm sure he was much happier to hold on to one today. So a couple late, and I think Cam Miller had one in the flat too, if I remember correctly. So
and if
you're 4 reps,
and if you're you mentioned Cam Miller, and we've talked about him briefly. If you're we get a lot of questions. How's Cam Miller look?
Couldn't tell you.
Adam is not lying. He's the reps are, and it makes way more sense now why. They told Carter Bradley, look, we're not even giving our third guy.
Yeah, there's no reps for you here.
Yeah, exactly. They are literally getting ready for the season. As Chip Kelly said, the season has started. And as Adam said, there's a game in 2 weeks, and then it's what, 4 weeks away or whatever it is to the regular season opener. Not 4 weeks, but we're getting there. So they're in get ready now mode. And one other thing that I wanted to point out was the continued usage of Ashton Jeanty in the past game. And I know his eyes lit up when we talked to him about that. He's really eager to show that part of his game. And the more you watch him, Adam, the more natural he looks. And they're getting him the ball in a lot of different ways, and it's up the field, it's on swing passes, and he gets around that corner pretty darn quick. Outlet passes to him and screen throws to him. But you brought up the fact that he still has to earn that third down running back role, and it's not going to just be given to him. He's got to earn it, and it's not just having an understanding of the passing game and then executing in the passing game as a receiver, but also as a blocker.
And that's almost always the case with rookie running backs. It's not anything in particular to him. It's not, that there's specific question marks about his ability to do it. It's always with rookie running backs. That's how they stay on the field, especially on third down. Can you be trusted?
Not to get the quarterback killed,
right? And it was brought up. It was brought up yesterday by Pete Carroll, I believe, just as he was talking, just about Pete Carroll spoke 2 days ago.
Yes.
Oh, it was Geno. Geno that brought it up yesterday. That they're working on protections and trying to get there, and they don't know yet because no pads, are not hitting, so they don't know. But he spoke of Ashton picking up what he needs to do, where he needs to be, which is the start of it.
And part of that's
and then you got to put your body on somebody, which I'm sure
is next part of it
is the next task. But the understanding where you have to be is half the battle, and they're working with him on that and trying to get there with him on that. So the fact that we've seen him as a receiver, not just not just swing passes and screen passes, but actually running routes and making catches. He's looked really good doing that. That's only part of what we talk about in the passing game for running backs, and there is that step. But I'm not making the case that he's good or bad at it yet. We don't know.
We don't know. And as Adam mentioned, the best you can do right now, if you're Ashton Jeanty, is show that you know what you're picking up. You're hearing the calls when it comes to the pressure, and if it's your responsibility to pick up, an oncoming linebacker.
Be where you're supposed to be.
You're
not going to hit him, but just be there.
Yeah, exactly. Now there will come a time when you have to hit him.
Yeah.
And so that'll be the last layer of the last stroke of the paint for him.
I don't think that time will be training camp. I don't think they're even when they go live. I don't think they're going to tell. I think they're going to be like, hey, be where you're supposed to be. Get in the way.
We're going to assume that you could do it, but at some point you're going to have to actually show that you could do it. But I'll say this, and I talked to Ashton about this earlier today. The dude is yoked.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not. What is he? 5'8.5". No doubt, he's not the tallest guy out there. But two things. Number one, go check out Kieran Williams with the Rams and watch him pick up blitz. And he's smaller than Ashton, so you don't have to be tall to be a good blocker. You have to just be technically sound and willing to do it. Number one. Number two, it was really interesting talking to Ashton. Number one, the amount of time that he's put in working on his body. He's not in college anymore. This is a full-time job, and he's definitely eating right and doing all the things that you're supposed to, and you could tell that it's working because he is yoked. But he also told me that he came in a little bit lighter than he normally would, and I think part of that is that thing that we were talking about with the passing game, and being able to get down the field and run routes. And one last thing about that. You could tell that Chip Kelly still has his college hat on, and maybe he recruited Ashton. We don't know. But all I do know is he said that, go watch some of his high school tape. He played a little wide receiver in high school. So there's proof of that out there that he wasn't just a running back. He played wide receiver in college, so has some level of knowledge of the position.
Yeah, and the other thing real quick, there was another question I know that we got on the podcast of just how has Dante Thornton looked. I actually used Dante Thornton as a play of the day. If you go check out reviewjournal.com and our Raider notebook. It was a very simple play. It was like a 10-yard out route. You see it 100 times a game. It was in the NFL.
The 3rd and 8 play.
I believe it was 3rd
coming
and 8.
Toward the building.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a 3rd and 8. Yes.
On the left sideline.
They got the first down.
Just quick out route. Tapped the toes, got out of bounds, made the first down. That's what you want to see out of him. I mean, the question marks were, hey, he's a go route guy. He's a jump ball guy in the end zone. That's all he does. That's what he did at Tennessee. That's what he was asked to do. But he can do everything. I'm sorry.
Right.
They think he can do everything. They want him to be able to do everything, and he wants to show that he can do everything. And that's a very simple play, but one that you say, okay, that's a pro wide receiver play.
No doubt about it. And it was so small but so big at the same time. And I was right there. I wasn't standing with you at the time, but I was watching that play, and I put it in the old tickler file because. As you said, as Adam just said, the preconceived notion was that he was just a guy that was going to just run down the field, use your speed, draw attention to your way, get behind the defender. Sometimes we'll throw it to you. But the Raiders think, are thinking much more broadly about Dante Thornton. And while that might have be seen as such a small thing, just a basic 10-yard out. He ran a good route. He was where he was needed to be. He made the catch, stayed in bounds, and got the first down. Now, what I would like to see, I'm sure the Raiders would like to see this as well. Now, can you, instead of just settling for that first down, turn it up and get up the field? Because that's the thing that I am really curious about with Dante Thornton. He's a mismatch. You're going to be able to throw it up, and he's going to be able to out-jump guys on almost like a basketball type play. But for him to take the ultimate step, can you not just win those one-on-one matchups and use your physical height ability or advantage to out-rebound guys? Are you a guy that you can throw the ball to in stride, and then all of a sudden you're not just beating people with speed by getting behind them in coverage, you're beating them when you get the ball in your hands, and then you just outrun them to wherever it is that you're going?
Or you lateral to Ashton Jeanty.
That
Let
would
somebody
be a
else
good
run the
idea,
ball.
too.
I think that would be that's maybe where you want to be.
It's interesting. The last thing that I'll say about it is this is such a marked difference in terms of the potential for explosiveness on this offense compared to last year. And I remind people quite often, this time last year, it might have been 5 practices in, Adam, in Costa Mesa, and somebody that was way up in the Raider organization comes up to me on the sidelines and literally said, it's going to be a struggle to score points this year. I'm like, you're seeing that too? And oh yeah. And the day before, Devontae had dropped a pass and Trey Tucker had dropped a pass. And who I was talking to said that just can't happen because those opportunities are going to be so far and so few routine because we just don't have that level of explosiveness. You have to capitalize every single time. Well, I'll say this, and it's obviously got to come together on the field. When you start thinking about just said, pitch it to Ashton Jeanty. He's obviously explosive. Dante Thornton is explosive. Trey Tucker is, in his own way, explosive. It just feels like there's more options to go to this year to create that explosiveness and maybe making it easy on the offense rather than having to meticulously go down the field on 10-play drives and hope that you don't make mistakes, which the Raiders made way too many mistakes last year, whether it was penalties or turning the ball over. When you could get them in one lump sum, like it looks like this offense might be able to eventually do, that's a game changer.
Especially if you struggle in the red zone. You got to be able to score from outside the red zone. Which,
and that didn't look good today, by the way.
That's what I was getting. And by the way, that is the knock on Geno, right? Like, let's get it out there. That's the knock on Geno.
He had to throw it away a couple times.
Not good in the red zone, and it's one practice. It's not
the first time we saw them in the red zone.
First time we saw them run like a 2-minute drill type play.
But yeah, it was a struggle.
It was. They moved down the field really well, got into the red zone, and then had to settle for a field goal in that drill. So
yeah, and that's there's disappointment in that if you're the coaching staff, if you're the Raiders, because Adam said in that session there was a big throw to Jacoby to get down there.
Yeah.
All right. It was a nice run. It was probably about a plus 30, I guess, yard gain. So now they're in the red zone, and I don't know if they even took another yard after that.
I don't think they did.
I think they threw twice to the end zone. Both times he had to throw the ball out of the end zone. And then third down, I forget exactly what happened. The third down was a throwaway. Daniel Carlson came on the field.
First down would have been a sack.
Yeah, that exactly. So then Daniel Carlson comes on the field and kicks a field goal. But obviously you take the points, but you want that to be the exception rather than the norm. This offense needs to do better in the red zone.
The best way to fix it if you're bad in the red zone is don't score in the red zone. Score outside the red zone. If you score from the 25, then you don't have to worry about it.
We will also point out that Ashton Jeanty did not touch the ball in the red zone. I would imagine a Chip Kelly offense, they're going to figure out ways to get him the ball in those situations and just say, here, you take it from him. Yeah, figure it out. Take it in. All right. So this is day 2 of Raiders camp. We're going to be back with you guys on Friday, which is tomorrow. After day 3, we'll take a little bit of a break. The Raiders are off on Saturday. They're back on Sunday. We're not going to be doing podcasts on weekend practices. But every day next week that the Raiders are practicing, and I think they practice every day, but Wednesday we will be here doing podcasts. We will be here again tomorrow. I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you to the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports. Thanks to Heidi Feng for doing all her great work. We appreciate all your support. Keep hitting the like button. Keep hitting the subscribe button. We talk about it all the time. Vegas Nation makes a great gift if you have a Raider fan in your life, whether it's a family member or a friend or whatever the case might be. It makes a really good gift. It's not expensive whatsoever, and it creates a one-stop shopping for Raider news and analysis. You don't have to go anywhere else. We've got you guys covered. Thank you again for the support. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll be back here on Friday after day 3 of Raiders training camp.